Welcome everyone. I'm Adrienne. For those who have not seen me or met me over internet yoga before, we will be going through about 60 minutes of yoga together, which I will lead. And lead just means encourage, offer some nudges and ideas. And you can choose to follow those suggestions or not. Before we get started, you can very surely grab some type of beverage. You can have water, some tea, whatever. You might want to grab a foldable blanket or towel, something like this. It's not like a very intense blanket, but I can fold it so it's sturdy when I do it, rather than something fluffy. And I'm going to start by scooting this underneath my seat, give my hips some height. Maybe you'll like that too. Also, big pillow is really nice. I am going to make sure we take some time to lay back and give our bodies a chance to really deposit down into the ground on our way out. And then lastly, if you feel like you're always reaching towards the ground, when you're challenged to do some type of fold forward, or if you just feel really crunched up if we do a lunge, and if you don't know what I'm talking about yet, that's okay too. It's fine to take a moment and jump out of, the sequence we're doing. It's not really a sequence. And go grab something that's helpful. But what might be helpful is either an exercise or yoga block like this, or something shaped similarly. So I like to suggest a stack of like coffee table books or something that you can mostly put your weight through your hand down on. So with all those suggestions in mind, have your props, don't have your props, but take a seat of your choosing. And let that seat be one where you can last in it for a little while, so for maybe 4 minutes. And you might decide that the one you initially took doesn't feel right anymore. Change it. That is fine. But you want to be in something that doesn't encourage you or put you in a position of fidgeting. Sorry, I have some kittens that are moving the screen, and I'm going to suggest that you go away. Anyway, find that seat, and I'll invite you to close down the eyes. So that can mean shutting the eyes like you do when you finally can get to sleep at night, or it can mean just loosening the muscles, relaxing the muscles of the face, including the eyelids, and you might keep them open a little bit, but just let the gaze go out of focus. So we're giving ourselves an opportunity to shift the aim of our perception, or allow our perception to be a little more aimless. And with your hands, you can allow them to rest in your lap, on the thighs, on the knees. And together we'll take a deep breath in, pulling it down through the nose, down into the belly, ballooning the breath out, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears, scrunching all up. Hold the breath, and then exhale, sighing it out the mouth, and roll the shoulders down together and back across the back. Give the elbows a little shake, allow them to be loose, and then bringing them to stillness. Sense that they are heavy and can assist in that feeling of pulling the shoulders down away from the ears. At the same time, bring your attention to the center of the belly and notice if a change in the stacking of the spine occurs if you let the tailbone be heavy, which may sound like nonsense at first, but maybe draw the belly in slightly, draw it back, and you might in turn feel your tailbone start to point more down, or even like curved under a little bit towards me rather than back. So we're just kind of playing with the muscles to then in turn play with the engaged or disengaged position of the spine. Now center your attention in the middle of the chest and just notice it rising and falling. Understanding that the passive breath is causing this movement, is invigorating the body, whether we choose to be aware of it or not. How lucky we are for that backup system. The next few minutes, we will give that backup system the limelight and honor it, give it some attention and appreciation. And for so much of its time with us, it goes unacknowledged. Notice the pace of your breath coming in and leaving. Notice if it feels hard or easy to sit in stillness right now. Just a reminder to soften the muscles of the face. Let the jawbones feel heavy, let the face feel like it's kind of melting rather than being propped up by engaging the muscles. Soften the lips, maybe let them part. Now, if your hands are resting on your legs, turn them to face upwards towards the ceiling. And I'll encourage you to kind of move through the same exercise. Tell your hands to soften, to get heavy, melty. We'll work outwards from our pinkies or our little fingers. Pinky fingers relax. Fourth fingers loosen. Middle fingers soften. Second finger, index finger, letting go. Finally, thumb with its heaviest, largest joint. Let it be soft. Feel the palms spreading with ease. Notice the palms feeling heavier against the surface of the legs below them. And as you breathe in and out, as your attention notices the breath coming in and out, envision a glowing ball of light in each of the upturned palms, becoming brighter on the inhale and perhaps ebbing on the exhale. Just a soft, faint pulse manifested as light, matching to the cadence of your breath. And demonstrative of that life energy inside of you, pulsating whether you notice it or not. And now we are just choosing to notice it and enhance it perhaps. All right, wiggle the fingers, close the hands together in front of the chest in a prayer position. Feel the elbows heavy and draw the shoulder blades together across the back, pressing the palms and the hands together, feeling the collarbones spread. Draw the low belly in, the low ribs in. Again, you're feeling that low back shorten. It's straighten. Take a deep breath into the belly through the nose. Hold at the top. 3, 2, 1, and exhale out the mouth. Big sigh. All right, blinking the eyes open. We'll release the hands down by the sides, extend them out and up. Inhale, look up, reach up through the fingertips, out of the hips. Feel the torso, the spine lengthen. Chest puffs up. Maybe you slide the shoulder heads up towards the ears like you're shrugging again. And then draw the hands down through center, through the prayer position. Drop the chin towards the chest. Say thank you to the breath. Choosing to notice that supportive breath today, even if it's just for these 60 minutes, off and on. All right, release the hands down. We'll plant the left palm on the outside of the left hip. If the floor feels too far away that you can't reach it, grab a block or stack books, something to bring the floor closer to you. Plant the palm firmly. You might even have a bend in the arm. Sweep right arm directly up overhead, working to straighten it. And then if you see the right shoulder going up towards the ear, it's okay to start that way. See if you can draw it down, creating more space at the top of the shoulder, below the ear. Just drawing that down. You can do a few of those. They're like half scapular push-ups. And you might notice that your arm kind of goes out more away from the head. That is okay. You can kind of experiment. You have a nice straight arm, it's just more space overhead, or maybe you like it directly overhead, but the arm bends a little more. It's okay. All right, press the floor away with that left palm, nice and firmly, and then we'll just lean over, trying to stay heavy in the right side hip. You're starting to feel the right side ribs spread. On the inhale, maybe that spreading sensation intensifies. Keep pressing the floor away. You might even come a little bit more upright, but notice this curve in the spine to the side. Reaching out through the fingertips, maybe rotate the palm towards the back of the room so the pinky finger, the little finger, points down to the floor, thumb goes up, and peek under the right armpit. Can you pull the right shoulder back a little more? Maybe the room brightens a little bit. That just happened to me as I brought the right shoulder back. Maybe this right arm, right hand is starting to tire out. Must be time to come out. Shake out the right hand. All right, we'll do other side. Moving your block to the right side, right outer side of the hip, outer side of the right hip. And plant that right palm on the floor of the block. Extend left arm all the way up. Again, shrug it up towards the ears. And then pull the left shoulder down, working to keep a straight left arm. What's going on with these low ribs right here? See if you can draw them in. Just pulling the spine, the curve of the spine out a little bit. Maybe you notice that your head floats a little bit taller than it was before. Press the floor away on the right side and tilt right. Staying heavy in the left side hip, pressing the floor away on the right side. Reaching out through the left pinkies, which rotate down while the right or the left thumb rotates up. Hold, if you can, the left shoulder back a bit and peek under the left armpit. If this hurts the neck, bring the gaze down, soften the neck. Take a breath in, feel the ribs expand. And exhale, press the floor away, come back to upright. All right, take a look at your feet. We're gonna have the two soles of the feet marry, so they'll join together in front of us. If you can't reach somewhere on your legs, this might be fine, where you reach your legs and you grab your shins instead of feet or ankles. It's totally fine. If something doesn't feel good, maybe you wedge the blocks underneath the outer edges, outer sides of both hips. You can also do pillows, fold up clothes, whatever. But this might support you a little bit. Grim, come here. Come here. Come here. All right. So reach down for the legs wherever you can grab them. And you're just going to tilt the spine forward, keeping it flat as much as possible. So keep the tailbone and the hips super heavy. And keep reaching out through the spine, out through the top of the head. And that's all you're doing, feeling the spine lengthen. Maybe you feel this in the back side of the body. Maybe you feel this in the outer hips. And pull, if you have a grip on the legs, pull on them towards you while kind of rotating the hips outward. If that doesn't mean anything to you, that's totally fine. All we're doing is trying to escape from the bounds of the hips. Trying to pull the spine long out of the hips. All right, we'll take one more breath to get longer. Maybe the space between the chest and the feet lessens a little bit. Maybe it doesn't. And then give up on the straight spine. You can curve the upper back. Let the head be heavy and drape towards the feet. And then press the feet away. Bring the torso upright. If you had blocks or pillows under the legs, release them. See what it feels like. Did you gain a little bit of movement in those outer hips with those props? Just worth to take a second to notice. All right, pull the legs together. Stomp the feet out in front of you. If you had something under the seat, you can move it. For now, we're just going to turn sideways for a bit. Place the hands behind you. Fingertips are facing the seat. Feet are out in front of you, toes facing forward. Pull the shoulder blades together so you see your chest kind of puff up like this, straightening the arms. This is a good starter stretch, just like this. You might even rock side to side, shifting the weight into one palm and then the other. And we're trying to pull the elbows to face back. So pull the elbows together rather than letting them bow out like that, okay? So you'll notice also my shoulder heads kind of caved in and face forward. When I pull the elbows to point backwards, these shoulder heads will also rotate forward, out, and up. All right, press into the feet, press into the hands, and thrust the hips up, working to straighten the front side of the body. So this is upward facing table, reverse tabletop pose. Get a nice rectangular shape on the underside of the body, or the whole body, I guess. But the square is under the seat, engaging the glutes, the hamstrings to shift the hips up higher, still pressing the floor away with all 10 fingers and the full soles of both feet. Pull the belly in, breathe, and lower the hips. And we'll gather the knees in, rest the head, bowing it towards the knees, maybe rock side to side. Okay, similar but different. We'll do a little boat pose, okay? So you can start with the hands behind you to feel again what it feels like to have a nice straight spine. Then release it and just try to sit upright with that swan spine too, okay? So you might have to walk your feet out further away in front of you. But as you start to walk them in, pull in on the low belly. Using the muscles of the low belly, you'll start to feel them engage. You'll feel the tops of the hips, those hip flexor muscles. Those will start to harden up. And this is just like an intro to a core workout, okay? So that might be where you stay. You can grab the back sides of the thighs of the hands and start to tilt back, keeping a long spine, okay? So we're not doing this when we tilt back. Keep pressing chest forward with the shoulder blades behind it. And then maybe you lift one leg to come parallel to the floor underneath. Maybe you switch it out, try the other one. We're still holding onto the backs of the legs, so you got support. And then engage the belly. Chest is proud. Maybe you lift both shins. come parallel. You can press the feet into one another. That might help for stabilization, might not. Maybe you release one hand forward and try and keep this knee where it was, the shin floating where it is. Switch it out. Left arm, or sorry, now it's right arm, reaches forward. Still proud chest, still straighter back. Shoulders back. Maybe both hands. And you can play with this. You can try and pull the knees in close to the chest. You can let the knees go away. Maybe the legs start to straighten. You can always grab the thighs again. But still pull in the low belly as best as you can. Still breathe as best as you can. Let's do 3 more breaths. It's okay if you shake. You can flex and point the toes to entertain yourself, distract yourself. Get as tall as you can, and we're balancing on the 2 bony sits bones. And release feet down to the mat, grab the shins, and bow the head, rock side to side. All right, I won't make you do that again. Let's, however, roll over onto the belly. And you're going to stack one hand on top of the other, and just rest the head there for a second. You can let the feet be wide, tops of the feet facing down, and just rock the hips side to side. It's like you're doing a little shimmy with the hips. You have the benefit of lying down on the ground. All right, we'll come to stillness, and you can lift the head up because we're going to walk the elbows underneath the shoulders, coming up into Sphinx pose. So take a look down at your hands, make sure the elbows are underneath your shoulders. They can also, if this feels too crunchy, too pinchy on your low back, you can walk them forward, totally fine. Wherever you are, we want the forearms to be parallel, the fingers, do this like based on your middle finger, pointing straight forward like it's a continuation of the elbow. Now press the floor away. So that's with your fingertips, with your palms, with your forearms, and with your elbows. And pull the shoulder blades together. You'll notice your collarbones and the front of your chest will spread when you do that. Maybe your gaze has to come a little bit more upward, that's okay. Maybe you notice the curvature of your low back became more acute, I guess, more curved. If that doesn't feel good, back it out. Move the hands forward. Or you can play with engaging the low belly, which everyone should do no matter, even if they have the elbows more forward, that's okay. But pull the low belly in and kind of, like I said, get heavy in the tailbone again. So that means you're kind of shooting the tailbone down like you want to draw a diagonal from your mid back through your low back and down through the pelvis. And it just changes the curve of the spine temporarily. So we're engaging the front side of the body to lengthen the back side of the body. Still pressing the floor away, lifting out of our shoulders. This is what it looks like when we hunch into our shoulders, just depositing all the weight. Press the floor away. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Engage the quadriceps muscles, drawing the knees up towards where you're talking, towards your face, towards your hips. Notice the knees come away from the floor. And pull the low belly in. Feel heavy in the pubic bone and the tailbone. And of course, breathe. And close down the eyes. Work to lengthen the breath. So maybe you count up to 5 in and count down to 5 out. Let's do that for 3 more breaths on our own. And still pressing the floor away, rise out of the shoulders. All right, after 3, Walk the palms forward, coming to lay down on the mat again, stacking the hands underneath the forehead and let the forehead lay, rocking side to side. All right, we're going to bring our left arm out to the side. You can do one of two things. So you can have it, your left arm going out a diagonal off the mat towards the top left corner and beyond of the mat. Or you can bring it into kind of like a goalpost like this. And you just want the elbow to be higher than your shoulder. So if you don't like the straight arm, that's fine, just bend it, okay? So whichever position you're taking, you're going to turn the left cheek to the mat to look to the right. You're gonna plant the right palm on the mat on your right side, and you're gonna start to press the floor away and turn onto your left hip. You stop where it starts to feel dicey, okay? So we want to start to feel the top of the shoulder, but on the left side, that's close to the mat. You want to start to feel that, I'm going to use the word pulling, so you can feel the sensation of the muscles lengthening and the tendons really lengthening. But you do not want to feel sharpness, okay? So discomfort is one thing, but pain is avoidable, and we do want to avoid it, okay? So once you feel point of sensation, stop there. If you still got a ways to go, let the top leg, which is if you're doing it with me, the right leg, let it bend, and maybe you can step it down behind you. You're still pressing, you're using that right hand to stabilize you. And the right elbow is pointing up towards the ceiling. Coming back to focus on the left hand, it's palm face down, okay? Fingertips are spreading. Maybe you start to press the floor away, and that turns up the volume on the sensation, opening the front side of the left shoulder. All right, all we're doing is kind of mellowing out here. So where you're working in both the shoulder opening on the left side, but also a twist, a spinal twist. Take a few moments just to breathe in this. And maybe over time you will witness that the left shoulder, it starts to soften. Maybe you feel it melt more down into the floor, losing resistance. And notice if you're breathing very shallow, how does the sensation change if you intentionally pump up the volume of the breath? So try to pull in more breath. Try to get puffier in the chest or in the belly, especially the belly. How does that change the feeling of this position? All right, we're gonna start to come out. Do it very slowly, okay? So if you have the right leg bent behind you, start to close down the knees so they rest towards one another, extending both legs out, stacked one another, kind of straight. You're using your right hand as a brake, and you're gonna start to rotate the right hip down towards the mat. And then you can, if you like, stack the hands under the forehead again. And just take a moment here, close down the eyes. Maybe you can sense a difference in how the left and right shoulders feel. And then we will proceed to the other side. So we're still on our bellies. This time we reach our right arm out at a diagonal. You can keep the arm straight, or you can have the goalpost arms, just be a little more intense. Wherever you are, right elbow is higher than the right shoulder, okay? Palm is facing down, spread the fingers, press the floor away with anything that is touching it in that arm. You're gonna stamp the left hand underneath the left shoulder. You're gonna look to the left, right cheek down towards the mat, or it can stay floating, whatever. We're gonna start to turn onto our right hip this time. So left leg can stay on top, straight, extended, or if you like, you can bend it and turn the left knee up towards the ceiling. Maybe left foot finds the floor somewhere behind the right leg. But take it slow. You might feel the stretch in the upper arm. You might feel that more on one side than the other. You might feel the spinal twist more on one side but not the other, or vice versa. Press the floor away, spread the fingertips of that right rounded palm. And also press the floor away with the supportive left palm, which will bring the left shoulder further away from the mat. And bring the attention back to the breath. If it's super shallow, how does this sensation feel? Can you lengthen and enhance the breath? And where do your thoughts go when I don't tell you how long you're going to be here? Can you still enjoy and keep breathing in, out, like in and out is a count? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just without a defined end. You'd be okay with that? And if your natural impulse is no, that is okay. The practice is in just recognizing that you feel discomfort when you don't know the end of something. And over time, with your practice, maybe you'll begin to let go of that feeling like you need to know what is ahead. How long is this going to last? Even if it's a class. How would you feel if you just showed up to class without knowing when it was going to end? Probably not great. So do know that it is very reasonable that probably most people don't like that feeling. All right, so I will allow you to experience the gift of coming out of servitude to time. All right, so being gentle, start to rotate the left hip down towards the mat. The gaze come down towards the mat too, forehead can rest. And this time, let's extend both arms forward in front of us. Let the arms be heavy, so the elbows might bend a little bit. If you're anything like me in structure, my nose is completely holding up my face right now, so I'm gonna change this for me. And just rest the head on stacked palms. So at least I have a little height, get some pressure out of my nose bones. And again, you can wiggle the hips side to side. This time, notice any changes in the shoulders, whether they do or do not feel even, whether you liked what we just did. It's okay if you didn't. All right, and we will back ourselves out. So kind of coming through that Sphinx position again, we're gonna tuck the back toes. And just before we do anything, walk those elbows underneath the shoulders, spread the fingers wide, forearms are parallel, pull the chest broad, and then, like I said, tuck the back toes under so your heels raise up, and you're going to engage the legs, engage the glutes, and lift the midsection of the body away from the floor, coming into forearm plank. Gaze is down, pulling the low belly up and into the spine, engaging the glutes, pushing out through the heels behind you and pressing the floor away with the forearms and the palms and fingers. And you're gonna lower the knees, extend the hips back, extending arms in front of you, enjoying your first child's pose. Take a breath in, swell up through the shoulder blades, upper back. And on the exhale, let everything be soft and heavy. Another breath into the shoulder blades. Exhale, soften, feel the spine elongate. Maybe you can walk fingertips forward. One more breath into the upper back. Hold it for a second. Don't release the breath. And now, release, soften. Rock side to side. You can rock the forehead side to side, massaging the eyebrow bones, the forehead. Loosening the neck. All right, walk the hands closer to you. You're gonna come up into good old tabletop. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Tops of feet are on the mat, or if that doesn't happen for you, that's okay. Tuck the toes under just for a little stability. Gonna lower the belly, gaze tailbone go up for cow, inhale. Exhale, curve the spine to the ceiling, pull the belly button in, drop the head and tailbone for cat. Exhale. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Come to neutral. Going to sit back on the heels, coming to a little kneeling. And we're going to scoot legs out in front of us. Bring the heels kind of further away from each other, wider than your hips width distance, okay? And your toes are going to turn out towards the mat. Put the hands behind you like we did in reverse tabletop and just walk yourself up into a squat, okay? So you're shifting your weight forward so you can stand on your feet. And the seat is elevated away from the floor. The knees and thighs are spreading outward, rotating outward, away from one another. Like if you could draw the two knees together behind you, okay? Your arms are inside the legs, inside the knees. We'll start first by extending the arms out in front of you. If this feels super, super rocky, like you can't stay upright, and you also can't reach the floor, that's okay. Maybe you grab that block, maybe you grab a pillow, anything that can wedge under the seat, make you feel stable. All right, this is good. It's just like having a little seat on the ground, and then you can really focus on parting the legs, strengthening the muscles of the outer hips, which work with the flexibility of the inner thigh, the groin, to pull the legs open, okay? So wherever you are, kind of bring your attention down to the feet. We'll work bottom up. So your toes are spread out. See if you can draw your weight into the outer edges, pinky toe edges of your feet. So draw up through the arches, like you're lifting the inner edges of your feet away from the floor. You're still drawing the knees back and open. If your arms can reach the inside of your thighs, push the thighs open with the arms. Try and keep the shoulder blades pinched together on the back and bring the shoulders lower away from your ears, right? You might have instinct to do this when you press in your legs. Try to keep the shoulders down. And then lastly, what's going on with the ribs and the low back? So if you are sitting on a block like this, you might really feel the low back curve out right here, like you're sticking your butt out. See if you can get heavy in the tailbone and work to curve the tailbone kind of down. And some people say forward. I don't know. If you think about, this is going to be a little sad, but if you think about what a dog looks like when it gets scared or wet or unhappy, that's kind of what we're doing with our tailbone. We're curving the spine down. Ugh, that's depressing. Okay, so anyway, aside from getting heavy in the tailbone, we are pulling the low ribs in so we get tall in the spine. You can tuck the chin too, that just kind of naturally happened with me. So it might be helpful for me to share that cue with you. And then pull the low belly in. Lastly, this is a funny cue if you're not familiar with summoning this on command, but pull the pelvic floor muscles, engage those pelvic floor muscles. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, that means you're not worried about what happens after you have a baby if you're anatomically female, right? But it also, most people can summon this when they feel like they really have to use the bathroom, they really have to pee, but they're not close to a toilet and they have to hold it for a while, okay? So engage the muscles that help you hold your pee in. This is soul bearing yoga. And this is helpful just because it's the root of the spine of the lower body. And especially when the seat is actually in contact with something and you are stacking the rest of the spine on top of it, it's really helpful to make a nice, secure, strong muscular base with those teeny tiny muscles and then work upwards. So you engage the root, you engage the pelvic floor muscles, you hold your pee, then you pull the low belly button, the low belly muscles in, the abdomen, then you pull the ribs in slightly, and then you have a nice base for the rest of your upper body to float on. Just totally effortlessly, right? Okay, this is a lot, so we're gonna back out. So you're gonna put your hands on the floor and turn the toes to face forward a little bit, and then we're gonna send the hips up, coming into forward fold. Let the head drop, let it be super heavy. You can keep a bend in the knees. That will allow your torso to fall between the thighs and will allow the head to feel super heavy. You can even kind of catch the head like I just did. Make a basket with your hands on the back side of the head and let the elbows and the combined weight of the elbows and the head draw the spine straighter and allow the hips to go more upright, up overhead towards the ceiling. Kind of rock the spine back and forth, side to side. And the more you straighten your legs, the more you'll feel extension in the backs and the hamstrings. You can choose whether you want to feel more release in the back by bending your knees, or if you want to play with hamstring, back of leg stretch, and straighten the legs more. And if you feel super unstable and unhappy making this head basket, you can either reach down towards the floor and push it away, or if you can't reach the floor, put that block underneath, and then maybe it'll come a little bit easier to you. You might feel more control. You can bend in one knee and straighten the other leg, alternate. It's all up to you. All right, so you have a block movement out of the way. We're just going to roll upright, slowly keeping the chin tucked till the very end. Shrug the shoulders up and then roll them back and down, presenting the palms on the chest forward. Draw the low belly in, let the tailbone, pubic bone feel heavy, and then lift out of it, straightening, engaging the legs, feel the chest and the head lift. All right, if you're not already there, let's move up to the front of our mat. Inhale, arms go up, super tall, lift out of the feet. Exhale, fold over the legs, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, press them away, straightening the back, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and plant the palms, step the right foot back. This is a lunge, runner's lunge. So at the beginning of class, I was like, floor feels really far away here. Put the block down. Bring the floor up. Maybe your chest can get more proud. I now feel this a lot more. The underside of my right leg, my hip flexor, feels really good, but it's a lot. Inhale. Exhale, we're going to shift our hips up and back. So this is a kind of pyramid pose. So we're working to straighten the legs. We're pulling the left hip back and spacing the right hip forward. And your right heel is probably floating away from the floor. That's okay. You can also hop it forward a little bit, and you can turn the right foot out slightly, the right toes out, keeping the right heel kind of in the line with your right hip. Still, the same cues apply. Try to pull the left hip back, send the right hip forward. So we have a triangle with our hips at the apex. Thank you. And again, if the floor is super far away, you can come up onto fingertips or your blocks. Take 3 breaths just to feel the outside of your left hip and leg. Pull the belly button in, send the hips back. All right, step right foot forward to meet left, fold. Cycle all the way up, roll up, inhale, arms up overhead, lift out of the feet. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, press the shins away. Exhale, fold, plant the palms, this time step the left foot back, coming into runner's lunge, other side. So left foot, you have the toes tucked under, heels going back, pressing the floor away with both feet, with both hands. You can come onto fingertips, you can find those blocks. Trying to keep a long spine that continues all the way down the leg, out through the left heel. Inhale. Exhale, shift the hips up and back, straightening, especially the front leg. If the left heel is floating, hop it in a little bit and maybe turn the left toes out, coming into pyramid pose. So we're framing the front right foot with the hands. We're working to shift the right hip back. So it's like we're turning the cap on the top of a drink. And it's going to the right. Our hips are the cap. So as you pull the right hip back, that left hip comes forward on that twisty cap. And if the floor is too far away, you feel super rocky, it's okay to feel super rocky, but if it feels dangerous, grab a block, lift the floor up higher, or come onto fingertips. Take a few breaths to feel now the outer line of the right leg. Pull the belly button in. Feel the hips like the top of the triangle, going ever higher towards the ceiling, away from the floor. All right, bring the bend into the left knee, step it up to meet the right at the front of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. All right, we're gonna plant the palms, step both feet back, coming into plank for a moment, and hold. Fingers are spread, palms are spread, push the floor away. Shoulder blades spread across the back. Engage the glutes, pull the belly button in. Inhale. Exhale. All right, we're gonna do a quick side plank flow through. So step the left hand underneath the face. I'm gonna roll onto the outer edge of the left foot and send the hips up to the sky. So right arm can go overhead, stacking right shoulder over left. Press the floor away with the left hand. Pull the belly in, but keep pressing up with the left side ribs. And that'll push right side ribs up too, and the hips. If this feels no good, totally fine. You can stagger the feet, bringing the right foot forward to the left. You can also come down onto left knee, and you can keep the left or the right leg extended out. Same thing. This feels really good for me. So when I'm not focusing as much on the strength of holding my body up, I can really engage with lengthening on the right side body. Even extend the right arm up overhead, over the ear. And just as we did at the beginning, look under the right armpit, rotate the right pinky fingers down, and the thumb up. And breathe. All right, wherever you are, that's a lot if you were in regular plank. So I totally understand if you came down, come through center. We'll take the other side. So if you're doing the full expression of side plank, you're gonna step right hand under the face, toes are tucked under, and you're going to rock onto the outer edge of the right foot. Either stacking left leg on top of the right, maybe extending left arm, left shoulder over the right, pressing the floor away so the hips, underside of the right body, presses the rest of the body up like a rainbow. And if you don't like that, again, stagger the feet, stepping the top foot forward of the bottom, or come down onto bent right knee, extend left leg long. Keep pressing the floor away with the bottom hand, no matter where you are. And maybe you extend top arm over and forward of the ear, rotating pinky down, thumb up, pulling the belly button in. Got some good length in the left side body. Okay, come back down through center. Hold for a second, and then come down to knees. Shift the hips back to the feet. Child's pose. Rock the hips out. All right, we're going to do one final move, and it'll be a twist. So, we're gonna lay down on our backs. And first, pull the knees into the chest. Roll yourself up into a ball, and allow that rock side to side to massage the back. Knees close to the face, close to the chest. It's gonna massage higher up on the back. If you push the knees away, rock side to side, we'll massage lower on the back. Maybe you get down onto the pelvis a little bit. All right, knees hovering over, extend both arms to either side. You're just gonna let the legs fall over to the right. So we're aiming to have the chest facing up towards the ceiling. You might notice that your left shoulder popped up from the floor. See if you can pull it back down to the floor. You might have to kind of pull your right shoulder out to the right, and that'll rotate your spine. You can keep gaze facing the ceiling, or you can look over towards the left hand. Start to quiet down. Notice the breath again. Give it your attention, your devotion. It's been working so hard to sustain us. So let's give it the opportunity to slow it down. All right, gaze goes back up to the ceiling, it goes over to the left. Gauge the low belly, pull the knees to float over the hips. And now we'll let both knees rock over and fall to the left. If your right shoulder came up away from the mat, totally normal. See if you can tuck it back underneath, bring it down to the ground, and let the gaze go to the right. So right ear falls towards the mat. Close down the eyes. Again, reconvene with the breath. Watch it wash over you, especially in the spine. If you let the belly be soft, how does it feel to let the breath puff up the belly? How does that impact feeling on the low back? I'd like to liken this sensation to the image of kind of raking soil. You're evening it out, raking out the clumps. It'll kind of soften. Sometimes after like a heavy rain, the soil's super compacted. So we are quite literally aerating our spine as we lengthen the breath and just focus our attention on the active breathing in a spinal twist. All right, gaze back up to the ceiling, keeping your eyes closed if you're comfortable with that. Engage the belly and let the hips come to hover over, floating over the hips again. Pull the knees in towards the chest, give them a hug, little rock. And then we'll extend the legs out in front of us. You can let them go long. Or if that doesn't feel great on the low back, you can lock them in, the feet, so the soles of the feet touch. Go wide as the mat and let the knees knock in. Before we settle in, I'm going to invite you to grab that pillow that I was so excited about at the start of class. Lay that on the ground behind you. Scoot your seat right up underneath it, or right up to the side of it, the end of it. And drape the torso, drape the back over it so you have a little curve, a little support under the length of the back. And again, you can let the legs go on, or you can have soles, the feet on the mat with distance, knees knock in. You can let the hands rest on the chest, belly. You can let the backs of the hands rest on the floor. Wherever you are, commit to depositing the body into the ground. Commit to surrendering to the end of this practice. Continuing the slowing of the breath, smoothing. And just as we started, continuing with the softening of different physical parts of the body. Let the ears, the cheeks, the jaw be heavy. Smoothing the lines in the face. Feel the shoulders get heavy to broaden the chest. Notice the backs of the hands, hips, the feet making contact with the mat. And as much as you can, drive the in and out of the breath to let go. Stay here as long as you like. If the day calls you, exit, rest, working through, coming onto the side, resting the side of the head on the mat, pushing yourself to come back upright to seated position, keeping the gaze down or closed. Lengthen through the spine, feel heavy in the torso, in the pelvis. Pull the low belly in slightly. Tuck the chin, feel long through the back of the neck, out through the crown of the head. Feel soft in the palms on the legs. Take a deep breath in, pulling it down to the belly. And exhale to sigh it out. Let the hands fold over the heart, keeping the chin bowed. One last thank you to the breath for all that it does, seen or unseen. And the same goes for you. loud to yourself. Thank yourself for all that you do, whether it is noticed or not. You are a wonderful one. All right. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining once again. I bid you a lovely rest of your day.